Hello students, I'm going to use this video to show you how to use the SATS calculator attached to your homework as resources in order to solve the questions on homework number 12. So when you open homework 12 from the platform, you're going to see a link to the calculator that you can use. So I'm going to open that and this page is going to pop up. As you can see, this is the home page containing links to the left that tells you the available calculators that you can use. So how are you going to use it? Let's say you are solving some question in estimating population proportion. So let's go to the first question. The first question says here, for a confidence level of 88, find the critical value. Of course, you can watch the videos for how to calculate it by hand, video 1 or video 2. That tells you how to do it with the Master Excel workbook that does not exist anymore. It's not available anymore. We're replacing that with the website I provided. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to go to the link and you're going to open this website and you're going to look for critical value calculators. And then we're going to use the normal distribution in this case because we are studying the estimating of population proportion. And then you're going to put the level of confidence, which is 88. We do not need a degree of freedom in this case because this is a normal distribution, not the student T distribution. So we're going to calculate and that will give us the critical value. So I'm just going to copy that critical value over to the homework and paste it there and submit my question. Similar for question number 2. So it tells you to find the critical value. How about if we were given some information and we would like to find the margin of error? So for question number 3, we have the sample size is 470. So the sample size is 470. P hat is given 0.78. And we want to find the margin of error if the confidence level is in 90%. So we're going to go again to the calculator. And in this case, we're going to go to the home page again. And we would like to use the Z estimate of a proportion. The Z estimate of a proportion. So in this case, we're going to plug our information. In this case, we were not given the number of successes. So I'm going to skip the first box and I will go to the next box. The sample size is 470. And the level of confidence is 90%. And then I have P hat. I was given P hat, not X. So I'm just going to use P hat, which is 0.78. And then I'm going to say calculate the confidence interval. Notice here how we have the lower bound of the interval, the upper bound of the interval, and then the confidence interval in two notations. This first notation right here represents the point estimate plus or minus the margin of error. So this number right here represents the margin of error. If that was not given to you, then what you would do, you're going to basically take the lower bound and the upper bound, and you're going to subtract one from the other one. So you would get two margin of errors and then divide the answer by 2. So in our case, this is the answer. I'm going to go here and paste it, submit my question. Let's say that notation was not given to me, so I'm just going to copy this and I will open an Excel workbook and make a new sheet. I will put the answer here. So I have two numbers. The first number is 0.7486. The second number is 0.8114. If you subtract, if you say the second one minus the first one, you will get two margin of errors. So that is equal to, you take that number and divide it by 2, you will get one margin of error. So subtracting them, you will get two margin of errors, and then you divide the answer by 2, you get your answer, which is one margin of error. And that is the number we have here. So that is in case you want to compute the margin of error and you are given the rest of the information. Needless to say, you can use this calculator also to answer question number 4. For example, here in a recent poll, 250 people were asked, so that is the sample size, if they like dogs, and 5% said they did. So the P hat in this case is 5%. Find the margin of error of this poll at 90% confidence level. You're going to obtain it the same way. So again, let me go back here, 90%. So what we have here, we have the sample size, which is 250. We were not given X in this case, but we were given the level of confidence, which is 90, and we were given the sample proportion, which is 5%, so 0.05. And then you're going to calculate the confidence interval. And then this one gives you the notation of the proportion, p hat, plus or minus the margin of error. So I'm just going to copy the margin of error and head to the homework and paste it here. And let's say we want to compute a confidence interval. The confidence interval, the lower bound and the upper bound for a question. You can also do it by hand. If you click on the first video and watch, that is how you do it by hand. The second video is using the Excel sheet. I will replace it with this video after I'm done. This one is not, the Master Excel workbook is not in use anymore. I took it down and replaced it with the website. Out of 6,000 people, so that is a sample size, 294 had kids. That is X. Based on this, construct a 99% confidence, so the confidence level is 99%, for the true population proportion of people with kids. Just like explained in the previous videos, if you watch the lecture videos, we said if you just take the p hat as an estimate for the population proportion, that estimate is not going to be precise. So we need to have a margin of error where we have the population proportion inside of a certain interval, and we will be, in this case, 99% confident that it is. In order to do that, you're going to go again to the resources. So if you want to access the resources again, it's this document right here. If you click on it, it will take you to the calculator. So I'm going to click on that, and then I will fill in this information. What do I have here? I was given the sample size is 600, so I'm going to type it here. But X was given to me. I was not given the p hat, so that is 294. And then the level of confidence was 99%. I do not have p hat because I was provided with X. It's either one. It's either the first box or the last box that you need. And then you're going to calculate. So in this case, we want to compute the lower bound and the upper bound. So the lower bound is going to be this number right here. So I'm just going to copy that number and paste it in the first box. And then the upper bound is this number right here. And I'm going to paste it in the second box. Notice how we have three notations. Sometimes the lower bound and the upper bound are given separately. Sometimes you will give in the p hat plus or minus the margin of error as the confidence interval. Sometimes it is between parentheses like that. So it's the three, which is basically this is the lower bound and the upper bound. And you can write it in the three notations in this case. And then you're going to submit your question and etc. The rest of the homework is similar. In this question here, we want to compute the sample size needed. So also you can use the calculators again. This is the sample size. You will need information for that, and then you can use the information to compute the sample size. So let me do that. A political candidate has asked you to conduct a poll to determine what percentage of people support her. If the candidate only wants a 5% margin of error, so the margin of error here is 5%, at a 99% confidence level, 99% confidence level, what size of a sample is needed? You can compute the sample size by hand if you follow the video on D2L attached to the instructions video. There is a way to compute this by hand. However, for the sake of saving some time, we just want you to interpret the data you get from here so you can use the calculators in this case. I'm going to head to the resources and go to the calculators. It's the last part. The margin of error is 5%, so I'm just going to say 5 because it asks us to put it in percent form. And then the level of confidence is 99. And then the sample proportion is, because it's not given, we're going to say it's 50%. So now we're going to calculate, and 664 is the answer. As you can see, if the p hat is not given, you're always going to assume it's 50%. Also, I mentioned that you can compute this by hand, so try it by hand as well. if you would like to challenge yourself. You're going to continue answering these questions with the same manner. If you see a video that uses the Master Excel workbook, that will be replaced with the calculators. So now that you know how to use the calculators, please make sure that if you see a video that I forgot to remove related to the Excel workbook, Master Excel workbook, just ignore it. Do not ask me where the Master Excel workbook is because I took it down. It's not coming back. I replaced that with the website. I hope this video helps with homework 12 and helps with understanding estimating a population proportion. If you have any questions, please let me know.